Hello and welcome to the 15th. No, 15th. What? 25th. Oh my god.
Our very 25th and 25th special.
That's right.
It's been a quarter of 100 episodes. Wow.
Quarter of a century, as someone would say from a movie/musical.
Okay.
It's said in a movie/musical. I'm not making it up.
Mm-hmm. This is the Game for a Movie podcast. I am your host, Mike Butank. I am joined by
Andre.
Jillian. Or Jill.
And Mitchell.
Mitchell's calling in.
Right on cue.
That's the first time since quarantine started that I think we actually could point at people and everybody could say their name, and it's great.
Yeah.
It's good to see you guys.
It's good to see you too.
We have some great movies on tap, but also on tap we have some beers that we are drinking.
Oh, dude, I love the segue. You're just killing it today.
Nailed it, man. What are you drinking, Andre?
I am drinking the local bud from Firefly Hollow Brewing.
Oh, Firefly Hollow, right up the road, actually.
Exactly,
Oh,
right?
Very nice, yes.
And then I'm drinking the Super Duper Double Citra from Thomas Hooker, which is not right up the road.
It
but
is not right up the road,
close
but it's
enough from where we live.
It's CT grown.
it's still delicious.
Hartford based.
Yes.
Mitchell, what do you got over there?
So I'm starting off the night with a little Blue Moon Belgian White, and then I'm going to transition over to a nice pour of Gentleman Jack.
Oh,
Oh,
Nice
okay.
little whiskey to cap things off.
all right.
Is Blue Moon the one that you put an orange in, or is that
Yes,
only...
Yes.
Okay.
that's the one. Yeah.
Mitchell,
Yep.
do you have an orange in
Yep.
there?
I do not. I don't have any orange on me, unfortunately.
What are you?
I'm just drinking this right out the bottle. I'm
Wow.
an animal.
What an animal. I am drinking Those Aren't Pillows, a pecan pie barley wine that is also a quote from one of my favorite Thanksgiving movies, which is Planes, Trains, and Automobiles.
I've not seen that.
You haven't seen it either?
I want to.
Have you seen it?
Nope.
It's one of the few actual
Yeah.
classic
Oh my
Thanksgiving
God.
films.
I know.
Mitchell, you haven't seen it either, right?
No.
Oh
And
Netflix
I would
watch
say-
party.
Yeah, that's the thing. It should be like a good movie watch party for us.
Yeah, right.
Claire hasn't seen it either. and,
Thanksgiving 2021.
It's John Candy and
Steve
Steve Martin. And I love it because I love Steve Martin.
And we're going to earn our explicit rating this week because it also has the best use of fuck ever. There's literally a scene where there is 17 utterances of the word fuck.
Matt Stone and Trey Parker would be proud.
They would be very proud. It is also, it makes sense to the story, and it's great. It's literally, I can't talk enough about this movie. I'm so disappointed that all of you have not seen this movie.
we will fix it. We'll fix it.
Okay. All right, one of these days we're going to watch it. But we have some other movies that we are going to talk about. Mitchell, we'll start with you, then I'll go, then Andre, and then our loser this week was Jill,
Yeah.
who has a glorious movie to talk about.
Oh yeah, it is a thing. I hope you don't love furniture because by the end of my little spiel, you will be afraid of it.
Oh my god,
Yes.
I'm looking forward to this. So Mitchell, get us started with what you watched this past time.
Yeah, on Friday, Netflix bestowed upon its subscribers a beautiful addition to what is, I think, one of the best directorial canons in modern movie history. David Fincher adding his next movie is Mank. Now, Mank, I would say, right off the top, this is definitely a movie aimed right at the heart of film nerds. People who love Hollywood history, have a thing for old black and white movies at home, probably have HBO Max because of the Turner Classic Movies collection.
Yep.
And Mank, for those who don't know, it's about the writing of the movie Citizen Kane. A lot of
Never
folks
heard of it.
Never heard of it. Mainly from the academic circles in film, consider it the best movie of all time. I'm definitely not one of those guys. You should definitely watch it. You should definitely watch it just because it's definitely a part and a huge part of American film history for sure. It was a story that starred, directed, and was co-written by Orson. The story about the co-writer with Orson, and that was Herman Mankiewicz. Herman Mankiewicz is the screenwriter and is played by Gary Oldman in this movie.
Before you continue, can we
Yeah.
get that last line again because you accidentally paused yourself?
Yeah, it's like your phone
yeah.
didn't want to say the name.
So
Yeah, he's a problematic guy. Gary Oldman plays Herman Mankiewicz.
That still wasn't the line we were trying for, but it's good enough. Orson Welles was the director.
Right.
That was the question I got wrong during our game.
Yeah, that's right. That's the reason why we had to watch that movie. It's Orson Welles. Dang it.
Fuck you, Orson Welles.
And a big old fuck you to Orson Welles. All right, so Gary Oldman.
Yeah, Gary Oldman is film playing Herman Mankiewicz. I mean, this is a movie that's 2 hours long and is shot completely in black and white. And let me start with the good stuff to the criticism.
Mm-hmm.
The best part about this movie, in my mind, was all the technical things. So everything from how it was shot, all the scene transitions, how it was edited, the music by Trent Reznor, yet again teaming up with David Fincher. This is a throwback and less of, an SNL parody of what Citizen Kane looked like. But really it was these craftsmen, in film paying homage to that movie. And it's done very, very well. The only thing that was a little cheeky to me, added the cue marks on the right-hand corner of the screen, those circles that would come up in the film.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. They added that, and, to their credit, they added those about once every 15 minutes, which is when those would show up in real life. So even then, the attention to detail is there, and it's a David Fincher movie, so of course it is.
Yeah, right.
And then my all-time favorite performance this year, I would say, is Amanda Seyfried as Marion Davies.
Wow.
She is a dead ringer for Davies. Most people, I was looking at all my favorite critics and their main takeaways. It's a very mixed review movie so far. But the thing that stands out the most in all these reviews is how much people love Amanda in this role.
Would you say, off the bat, Oscar performance winning, or?
I would put. The thing is, I haven't. There are so many movies that will end up being nominated at this year's Oscars that simply have not been made available yet.
Right.
But as of right now, yes. She kind of fits the bill. In my mind, anytime you get a supporting character in there, kind of one of your roles in terms of if you want to go and win an Oscar, you have to be a scene stealer. And that's exactly what she has done in so many different scenes. Most notably, there is a walk in the park that she and Mank have, essentially just spewing about how they got to Hollywood and what their philosophies are and all that kind of stuff.
Nice.
Very, very great performance. Now to the bad stuff. Okay. This is a film that was written by Jack Fincher, who is David's late father. I believe he passed away in 2003. And this was a screenplay that had been, written a long, long time ago. And so much, in fact, when Fincher was coming out to success, I believe it was either Seven or Fight Club, and Jack showed him the screenplay. He's like, what do you think? Not to say make it, but just genuinely to ask, hey, what do you think of this?
Right.
And he goes, and David says, I just don't see how this is going to speak to people. I don't see how this is a movie that could be for 2000 or 2001. Now, fast forward to 2020, a lot of the parts of the movie that end up answering that question, like why now? The big reason of why now is this plot about Upton Sinclair running for the governorship of California. And the whole idea there is the politics game that kind of reflects what you see today about Yeltsin and big media completely warping people's ideas of what is the truth in an election. And that I'm like, okay, so clearly there is some ideas at play here that simply was not in the forefront of anyone's mind back in 2000.
Right.
All's to say that completely derails the movie. This, in my mind, the best part of this movie is all the character-driven moments, whether that's Mank confronting William Randolph Hearst, or it's them with Amanda Seyfried doing whatever the hell she wanted to do in this movie, and it was fantastic. I think the relationship between Mank and Lily Collins' character, Rita Alexander, is also very great. Lily was essentially the scribe for Mank as they were writing the script. So all these different moments and scenes ended up making for what I felt was a very warm reflection, and in kind of a weird way, a warp of what Citizen Kane was, which is a reflection of a man's life.
Right.
And that's what we got there. But then you just have all this political stuff. And don't get me wrong, it was definitely hitting all the right notes for me in terms of, yes, that's true, yes, that's bad, in terms of the politics. But in terms of serving the story in the movie, it feels like they're aiming at too many different targets at the same time, which for David Fincher sounds really off-brand. He's a very precise director, you know? And I'll say this, a lot of folks who I've read who love this movie had seen it at least 3 times before writing their review.
One of those ones that's better on a rewatch?
Yeah, and the thing is, it's a 2-hour flick, and the best part about Netflix, I have not rewatched the entire movie, but what I have done is gone back to certain scenes. One of my all-time favorite scenes, I think, is there's this great line, and it's in the trailer as well, where Louis B. Mayer is basically spewing out his philosophy on what the Hollywood industry is. And it's a great character introduction. It's him walking from his office over to a studio where he's about to let all the actors and crew members know that everyone's about to take a pay cut because this is during the Depression. Right. On his way over there, he's kind of flexing in front of Mank, just showing how powerful he is. And he basically says the magic of movies isn't like any of the special effects or whatever. It's the fact that the product that people have is just the memory of what they watched. I still own the product. All they bought was the memory.
Wow.
And I think that is going to speak to a lot of the news that we're going to be talking about later with Warner Brothers and what they're doing.
Yep.
But to end this review, I would say there's a lot going on there. It's a heavy movie in terms of dissecting. Frankly, there's a lot that's hard to follow, but the character stuff is fantastic. The technical stuff is beautiful to look at. The music, I think, is fantastic. And Trent Reznor, from what I heard, he also did the score for Soul, which is the new Pixar movie coming out on Christmas.
This is incredible to me that Trent Reznor, of all people, is doing all this.
Right.
I mean, he went for, like, I actually was looking at his filmography. His first movie he did was Social Network, which I thought it was. Good for him.
Yeah, this is great.
He's been nominated 65 times. He's only won 1 Oscar.
I like Trent Reznor. It's just interesting to me to guess that he did all of this, like, movie work. Sorry.
Mitchell, I do have a question for you. Do you think that there is, I don't want to say director's cut because everyone is immediately going to think like the Snyder cut, but do you think that there is deleted scenes or an extended version of this film out there that might, when it gets a print release, either on Blu-ray or DVD, do you think that is, or do you think what you're seeing is the full film?
No, so I think what we're seeing is the full film. I think with David, and I'm not even sure if the life cycle for a movie is going to exist with Netflix, right? Because this is good. This is Netflix living on the platform. Yeah. So I think that what we just saw is exactly. So as much as I say it feels unfocused, for all the things that I read, things become more clear and apparent the more you watch it. Which is to say, watching movies should not be homework. No. And I would rather have that great experience once and then be rewarded for all these different things. But to understand the momentum of the characters and all that. That shouldn't be something that be apparent on the second or third watch, in my opinion. And to read some notes too. Eric Roth, who's a Academy Award-winning screenplay or screenwriter, he worked on The Curious Case of Benjamin Button with David Fincher before, and he won his Oscar with Forrest Gump. He is listed as a producer on this film, but he was also a guy who apparently was someone who went over the script with David Fincher. Tried to give it some kind of modern touch, I guess you could say. Whatever in the past 20 years would have been different. So maybe, I don't know. It's tough to say, Jill. It's really tough to say. But I think this is the movie that Fincher wanted.
Okay.
So what would you give it as a review out of 5?
I'm giving it a solid 3 out of 5.
Okay.
And for me, that is on the lower end of Fincher movies.
Yeah.
I've yet to see Alien 3, so I think that would probably be the lowest.
I think you're safe there.
I somehow forgot he did Alien 3. Holy moly.
Did Fincher do Existence? Is that Fincher?
I don't know.
Which one?
Existence?
No, I don't believe so.
No,
I think that's the other David.
That's the problem when you guys call in. I can't use my phone and look it up.
No, so for me,
Mickey
David
Cronenberg.
Fincher, his version of Citizen Kane, ironically, is not Pink. It's called The Social Network, and it came out 10 years ago. I would say that is his best movie. This is probably middle of the pack for me. But this is definitely also to say David Fincher's warmest movie. It feels like there is an actual human being and not this cold, calculated director doing 100 different takes of the same scene just to get the body movements right.
Interesting.
Wow.
Okay.
All right.
So, in all of that to say, 3 out of 5. I'll say 3 out of 5 Q marks for me, which is the whole
Okay. Yeah, there you go.
Okay.
Alex DeSantis is Cronenberg.
Where does 7 fall on your list of David Fincher movies? Just because I think that's my number one.
That immediately, that's at least top 3.
Okay.
Yeah.
2 or 3.
I love 7. I can watch it anytime. It's that movie when it's on television. Like,
Yeah,
I
it's
turn
like,
it
oh,
on.
hey.
Seven is a
So
good
much
example
honest.
of like not necessarily being homework, but the viewer is rewarded
Yes,
for
that is
viewing.
a
Yeah.
really
I agree
good
with
movie to
that.
rewatch all the time for sure.
Absolutely.
I guess I will jump in with the movie that I saw, which is definitely not homework. The movie I saw is called Fat Man.
Okay.
We're going to talk about this movie just because it had such an impact on me. I rented this movie from iTunes and then realized I couldn't stream it to my TV.
Oh, no.
So I watched the entire thing on my phone on the couch.
Fun.
Wow. Okay.
It is about Santa Claus,
Ah.
played by Mel Gibson.
Great.
Mel Gibson. Mel Gibson.
Mel
Yes, Mel Gibson.
I don't know why my brain went to Mel Brooks, and I was like,
Yeah, no.
that's
It is Mel Gibson.
oh,
Yes,
boy.
that Mel Gibson.
There's Mel.
And so basically, the directors say they wanted to create a realistic Santa. So, for example, there's so many bad kids nowadays, they don't make as many presents, so they don't earn the money that they get from the government for creating Christmas. They created Christmas so that people would buy stuff for each other and like consumerism.
Okay.
But now there's so many bad kids, they have been giving more coal, so the consumerism has gone down. So the military gave them less money.
Okay.
Makes sense.
In order to subsidize the money they're missing, for the first 2 months of the year, they signed Santa and Mrs. Claus, who's played by Marianne Jean-Baptiste, who's awesome in this movie.
Okay. Yeah.
They give them to do a military contract where they build the panel for drones for the first 2 months. So the elves are building. Yep. Oh.
Okay.
And I'm telling you right now, this movie on paper is batshit crazy.
Yep.
I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the hell out of it. And I hate how much I enjoyed this movie.
Okay.
Well, okay. So.
But wait, there's more.
Right.
I got you right. You're starting to bite in, and then I'm gonna pull you in because there's more.
boy.
There's a 12-year-old sadistic kid who gets coal, and he of course does the line. If you watch the trailer, he like gets in the snow and I'll get you for this, fat man.
Hence the name drop.
Roll credits.
Roll credits. Right.
Well, he is in touch with an assassin.
As you are 12 years old.
Okay.
Yes, he's
So-
been stealing money from his grandmother to get this assassin to basically, like, he got him to kidnap the girl who won the science fair and kill people that are just in his way.
Okay. Psycho in the making.
So he's already murdered people for this kid.
Not murdered, but,
Threatened?
like, accepts all this money to blackmail them. So, like,
Okay.
this science fair girl, he basically said, you're going to say you cheated, and if you say anything, I'm going to come by, I'm going to kill your father, I'm going to kill your mother,
Jesus
I'm going to kill
Christ.
your dog.
Okay.
But
so
we haven't-
he's already extorted people with
Yeah.
this guy. Okay, got
We
it.
haven't talked about the assassin.
Right.
It's Walton Goggins.
Who?
Walton Goggins.
Okay.
The guy who was in Justified, Vice Principals.
Oh yeah, that guy. I had to
He's
look up a
in
picture of
Ant-Man
him.
and the Wasp.
Yes, he's in.
Who?
Oh
is
God.
it, Ant-Man and the Wasp?
He is, in Ant-Man and the Wasp,
in-
he's the bad guy, or one of the bad guys. Not Ghost, but he's like slick businessman that like...
Not Lawrence Fishburne.
Not Lawrence Fishburne, exactly, yes. Yeah, no, he's like a secondary bad guy.
Okay.
He works for somebody and like has this, whatever. He is the assassin. And basically he gets hired by the kid to find the fat man and bring his head.
Wow, Jesus Christ.
This kid's going right for the jugular.
Yeah.
It is an hour and 40 minutes. The first hour is fun and like off-the-wall craziness. The last 20 minutes is a shootout at the North Peak in Alaska.
Okay.
And they do the whole joke where like there's a sign that says North P, and then they zoom out and it's North Peak, Alaska, and then follows his car moving in.
Okay.
So they do that joke, you know, and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And then the last 20 minutes is like a shootout between Santa, Walton Goggins, and Mrs. Claus.
Good for Mrs. Claus getting in on the action.
Yeah, right.
Walton Goggins somehow kills like 40 soldiers that are there.
Right. So, like, is he like what's Walton Goggins' deal? Like, is he just like a super trained assassin, military guy?
He's just an assassin that's always been like he's wanted this job for forever.
Okay.
Because at the end, as you learn, he asked Santa for one thing and never got it, that was new parents. Because his parents abused the shit out of him.
Oh.
And, like, he has, like, cigarette burns down his arm.
Oh, okay.
What the fuck?
Wow,
Yeah.
alright, okay.
That took a twist.
That's a little bit of a heel
So you
turn,
said
I
it was
guess.
an hour and 40 minutes, and the first hour is great. The last 20 minutes are a shootout. What about those 20 minutes
It goes
in between?
20 minutes too long.
Oh, no!
It's just a
Jill did
slow...
the math.
It's just a slow burn. I'm glad you did the math. It's just a slow burn 20 minutes where it's just like, oh, come on, just get there. There's a part where Walton Goggins has like a hamster that he cares about more than anything in the world. And so like he goes to this pet store and the woman's like, you don't hit me as a hamster person. Do you want a snake? Do you want like a cold-blooded reptile? And like it's just sitting there like, oh, we're just showing how cold he is. And then he buys like all this hamster gear and puts it in his car. So like the hamster is running around the car and like stuff and wheel and and like it's a cute scene, but it's so unnecessary. But overall, I really enjoyed the film. I think it's going to be like a cult classic Christmas film.
So would you, I guess, okay, that's the ultimate test. Would you watch this around Christmas time, 5-ish years from now?
Yes, I think I would.
Okay.
And I tweeted my friends about it because there just so happened to be a tweet about it, and I said, you know, Fat Man was like surprisingly good. Like I'd recommend it. The director commented and liked it,
Oh, hey!
Hey!
but I didn't put hashtag Fat Man. I didn't do anything except for just write the words Fat Man was surprisingly good, or like that kind of thing.
Somebody's social media aide was on that.
And so he is all over this.
Wow.
Like everybody that puts Fat Man in social media on Twitter, he's immediately.
Are we sponsored by
like,
Fat Man now? Are we sponsored by them?
I don't think so.
Oh, okay.
But I might tag him in our like Instagram post or Facebook post or something like that because he seems like a nice guy.
Sure.
Him and his brother wrote it and directed it.
Gotcha.
The trailer is ridiculous and looks like it's going to be the dumbest movie. Don't go in expecting Citizen Kane.
Okay.
Okay.
Roger that.
But
I don't
like,
think a lot of people
Noted.
do that.
yeah. But like the $6 I spent on it,
Sure.
I would watch it again.
Okay.
Was
Yeah.
it a directorial debut, or did the director have other things under his belt?
Maybe. I don't know. I didn't look up
To the
that far.
internet.
Ian Nelms. Nelms. And then it's his brother. I can't remember his name, but I just remember Ian Nelms. But yeah, it's ridiculous. It's goofy. I will say that Santa gets shot in the eye, but somehow survives.
Oh, okay. Well, you know, that's happened, I guess,
Yeah.
right?
And then he comes back to the 12-year-old kid, and he's like, I know what you did. You better be good. Otherwise, I'm coming for you next Christmas. Like that kind of line. But it's Mel Gibson.
Yeah.
So it's kind of...
Kind of like, oh,
Threatening.
shit, yeah.
But we'll call this movie what it is. Military propaganda,
Right.
Christianity,
Okay.
and just a movie to be ridiculous with Santa Claus. That's what it is.
Okay.
He's done other things, the director. He did not his first one.
Okay, I didn't think it was, but I just didn't. I can't
Yeah.
say. It wouldn't have struck me if it was his first film
Yeah.
too. But yeah, it's Marion Jean-Baptiste is great. Walton Goggins, I love him. He's great and everything. I was kind of mad when I saw the trailer, going, "Oh, how far did he slide to have to do this movie?" But really, it was worth it. It was pretty good. And then there's Mel Gibson, and it's a combination of his character from The Patriot and
I was about to
Santa Claus.
say, is he channeling the Patriot? 'Cause God
A little
damn it.
bit, yeah.
All right.
But yeah,
He
so
always has to be a badass with a gun, I guess.
So
I would
what
give
he
it-
is in The Patriot?
Yeah. Have you seen The Patriot?
We're talking about the American history film.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I don't know. I think my memory of it is a little
A lot of musket reloading in that movie.
A lot of musket.
And I mean, like we could also talk about like Braveheart too.
Yes,
I love Braveheart.
Yeah, it's very like he's trying to be an action like away from the action badass is what I'd say.
Okay.
Sure.
He's retired, but he still shoots his gun every now and then.
If he needs to,
Yeah. You know, so it's like it's trying to get away from this, but he always knew this day would come where someone would find him, so he needed to stay one step ahead.
Retired but armed.
Yes, exactly.
Retired but armed. That's good.
And I will also say that they do not understand the range of guns.
Oh.
Walton Goggins has like a machine gun, and Sarah has 2 pistols, and they fire at the same range.
So if you're a gun aficionado or an enthusiast, don't go into this movie expecting that they consulted gun experts for putting together the stuff.
The only thing I will say is that there is a good job of when Walton Goggins reloads.
Okay.
Like, you know how movies, like, they have the endless clip where it's just the hero has all these bullets, blah, blah, blah.
Guns run out.
Exactly. They do a good job of they need to reload or whatever, and, like, pistols. It's not like he's firing pop, 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 like over and over. He's like conserving it. He's that kind of stuff. But I will say I gave it 3.5 elves out of 5.
I
Okay.
didn't think to ask about the elves.
Yeah, right. Oh, so are the
They
elves...
have numbers,
Okay.
not names.
Are
Are they like...
humans,
But,
or
right.
are
Like,
they
are
They're
they normally...
elves.
So,
They're
okay.
short.
They're human-esque looking.
We're,
Yeah.
we're talking Will Ferrell's elf.
Yeah,
elves.
they're short elves.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay,
yeah,
got it.
yeah.
They're not
just
gremlins.
they're short humans. I mean, yeah,
Okay.
they're short humans. It's
okay.
the only thing that's different is they have pointed ears.
Okay.
And then they wear bells on their shoes, which they did a scene when the military came in. They have a metal detector to make sure they're out. They had to cut the bells off their shoes. That's
Oh.
actually part of it.
Wow.
Yeah, it's cheesy.
Attention
but,
to detail there.
like I said, it's a fun movie. It's
It's fun.
stupid
Okay.
how fun it is, but it's fun.
That's what you sometimes want in a film. Stupid but fun.
And that's exactly it. Watching on my phone at 1 a.m, it was exactly what I wanted. Yeah.
All right.
Andre?
Oh, okay. It's
yeah,
me.
it's you, buddy.
So, Jill and I, just yesterday, we watched a supposedly Amazon original film, Uncle Frank. It actually
Uncle
premiered.
Frank.
It's it premiered at this year's Sundance back in January. But yeah,
Nice.
Amazon picked it up, and I guess they put it out for Thanksgiving. So, yeah, I guess that lines up.
Yeah.
So this is a I guess I call it a drama film starring Paul Bettany. It is. I guess I should just give you the high level synopsis of it.
Yeah.
Wait, what was that face you just made, Mitchell?
Uh-oh.
He muted himself.
He muted
He's
himself.
looking at something else. We caught him.
We
We
caught
caught him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See you.
I'm knocking out some Christmas shopping.
Oh,
Yeah. All right.
Well, let's talk of Christmas. Really put him in the mood for consumerism.
That's right. Oh shit.
I knew we caught you doing something.
Ah, shit, I gotta flip my...
Yeah, I should have said like a picture of your face.
Oh, God.
Okay, so Uncle Frank.
Uncle Frank, right? Okay, cool. So I'll
Paul
just give you
Bettany.
the high level synopsis, right? So, this is a film about uncle, a family that is from South Carolina.
Okay.
This is in like the late 70s, right?
Early 70s.
Early
So,
70s.
Cox.
Yeah,
1973.
Sure. 1973. Cool.
Okay.
And the narrator character is a 18-year-old girl named Beth, and it's basically her kind of recounting the story of how she got to know her Uncle Frank. So it starts out with her just showing around their what?
Nothing.
Okay.
Keep going. This seems like it's taking a dark turn.
No, it's not dark at all.
This is
in
a
fact.
feel-good film.
Yes,
Okay,
this is very
all
much.
right.
I guess you should say from the top. This is gonna sound pretty scathing, but this is like a Hallmark movie for gay people, basically. It's kind of like
With
that.
a nice Hollywood budget.
Yes, that's true. Yes, a well-produced, well-acted gay Hallmark film.
Okay.
So yeah. Anyway, so Beth is our main character. She's narrating. She's introducing us to her quaint small town South Carolinian life, and she talks about how every once in a blue moon, like whenever there's a big family get together, her Uncle Frank, who moved to New York City a few years ago, will come and visit. And she was always his favorite because he's always so different. He's more refined. He's the only one who actually takes interest in what she has to say. They immediately kind of like they show that they have this kind of deeper connection.
Okay.
Where so Uncle Frank is played by Paul Bettany, and he kind of is the first person to say like, hey, like, be who you are, be who you want to be, don't let anybody else tell you what to be. Kind of lets her, really kind of like nudges her to have her own awakening of her self-worth insofar as like I think what was her, like she was Betsy, I think was her original name.
Elizabeth's her full name. But
Elizabeth's her full name, but everyone called her Betsy, and he's like, well, like, what do you want? Like,
Betty.
It was Betty, right? And he's like, well, like,
So
who do you want to be, right? Like, what kind of name do you want for? It's like Liz, like whatever. And she's like, I like that.
I had a moment like that when I was a kid because like I was Mikey.
Right.
Forever.
Yeah.
You know, and like when I was sick and done with it, I had a great cousin that I basically said like, don't call me Mikey. And she goes, what do you want me to call you? And I was like, I don't care, just not Mikey. She still calls me Stan to this day. You know, so it's like that kind of thing. But
Sure.
yes, I get that. So
yeah. And it's kind of a good scene to reel you in because I like the kind of the chemistry's not the right word, but like immediately you kind of buy into the connection that Paul Bettany has with this girl, and that, you know, she's you know, staying up for herself. She works hard enough at school to go to NYU where he's a professor at. So she's like, you know, leaving the small town life to go to the big city along with her uncle,
you.
right? Yeah. So you immediately can tell that, I mean, obviously, like the byline here is that, you know, Uncle Frank, he's gay. He's gay, and he's from a South Carolina family from South Carolina in the early 70s. You kind of guess how that would go over, and you see they immediately show you the tension. I think they were there for Beth's grandpa's birthday, and like he's opening presents. He opens one from Uncle Frank, and obviously is like, "Why the fuck did you give me this? Like, this is dumb." Blah, whatever, you know. So yes, I would say like I'll just go through the first like 20-ish minutes, just high level, and you'll probably be able to get the rest of the movie, what happens from there, right? So Beth goes to New York, goes to college, you know, through a few blunders, ends up at uninvited to a party that Frank is throwing for his colleagues, or like, you know, whatever, his various colleagues, right? And that's where basically she has her first drink. She gets super drunk, passes out. Well, starts getting sick. Frank has to take care of her, and that's how Frank kind of has to come out to her because it's at Frank's apartment where he lives with his partner, right? Yeah. Like hiding from the family and everything. Obviously, Beth, being the young 18-year-old open-minded girl that she is cool with it, is immediately happy that she has this shared like secret-ish with Frank. And then the shoe drops that, like, you know, it's the next morning. She's nursing her hangover. We're getting to meet Wally, Frank's partner, who we love. I love Wally. I should say that everything about this movie, it's very well acted. That's probably the best part about it is that it has a great cast and it's well acted, and I'm endeared to the characters. So yeah, like we're hanging out and it's great, woo, like how we're gonna break to the family. You know, Wally's musing about how, I just wish I could meet your family, and Frank is like, of course you can never meet my family, you know why, it's gonna be terrible, they can never find out, yada yada yada. The shoe drops. Frank's dad,
Grandpa Mac.
Grandpa what?
Mac,
yes, Big Mac, who's played by Stephen Root, who I love seeing him in everything. Yeah. He suddenly dies of a heart attack, and they have to go back to the funeral. Well, he insists that he wants to go to be there to support Frank, and then obviously Frank is like, no, that's a bad idea, don't go. It'll just be me and Beth. Yada, yada, yada. They go on a little road trip. Of course, Wally tails them behind, and it's like, he tagged along anyways. Wally, you rascal. Because he forgot Frank's tie. And it's like, you rascal, Wally. I guess you'll just come along. And, you know, you get these little conversations with Beth, like, trying to figure out more about Frank. Like, okay, like, when did you realize like, the obvious questions a kid would ask, you know, who's still learning about, like, gay culture, essentially. Like, okay, when did you find out you were gay?
Learning about herself, too.
Yes, obviously, yes, exactly. Because she's also still very much, she hasn't, I would say, not sexually blossomed yet, I suppose, right? Yeah. And they make a point of that.
It's depicted as a choice / when, at the beginning of the film, Uncle Frank tells her, you know, don't waste your time on boys. You're smart. You could go to college if you wanted. Yes. Right. He even tells her, and I think it's a 4-year.
It's a 4-year gap.
Time jump. So it's like 1969. And the first 10 minutes in 1969, he tells her, if you ever need an abortion, don't call your
Well,
family, call me.
it's more like if you have, he phrases it like if you ever find he was like making fun of her cousin who was knocked up and was like, well, if you ever find yourself knocked up,
if you ever need birth control, I'm your first call.
So
if you ever
immediately,
get die, I'm your first call. Which is like, wow, it's 1969 and you're just telling this 14-year-old girl that don't throw your life away essentially for a stupid boy.
And that conversation kind of plants the seeds for this relationship between Beth and Frank. I wish the movie kind of focused a bit more on. Yeah. So I guess whatever. So basically, it's alluded to that Frank has this tragic past about how his first love and all that stuff, and I feel like I can just like. You could probably just fill in the blanks with the rest of the movie about how that's all going to go down, you know? And that's kind of my biggest thing with this movie is that none of the plot is very surprising.
Nope.
Yeah.
It's not very challenging.
I will say what happens at the funeral with the will reading was we were joking saying it's not like they're not going to do that.
Yes, that's true.
And then
yeah.
Grandpa Mac is a petty bastard to the end, essentially.
Yeah. Yes,
he outs Uncle Frank at the funeral.
At the will reading.
At the will reading.
He outs Uncle Frank. That's the big like. Whoa.
Yeah.
And it's in the moment it's well acted. Like I said before, it hits all those emotional beats. It hits you right in the feels, and it's a feel good movie. There's emotional highs, emotional lows. But after I finished it, it's like okay. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. Don't need to go back. Like, everything's kind of wrapped up in a neat, nice little bow. It's not,
Which, I mean, like, it goes with your description of it as a Hallmark movie for gay couples.
Yes.
Like that,
And I would say that the framing character, Beth, who I didn't look up her name, Beverly in It, that child actress.
Okay, yeah.
She's very, very good. It's almost not fair that the script does not give due
basically
more to her
kind of forgets about her.
She's not a plot device because the plot device is the funeral or the grandpa dying in the funeral. She's more like I'm pushing the plot along, and then once they get on the road back to South Carolina for the funeral, she effectively disappears into the background, and we never really get anything about her.
It basically focuses entirely on Frank's estranged relationship with his father.
Yeah, okay. I get that. And it sucks because, like, child roles sometimes are written that way, where it's just like, okay, you're just here until we don't really need you anymore.
A little bit.
Yeah. I mean, she's not even a little plot moppet. She's an 18-year-old woman.
A plot
moppet. And we don't really know much about her. We don't know why did she choose NYU? What does she want to, like, we know that she can be whoever she wants to be, but we don't know who that is. And it would have been nice if we had gotten a bit more of that, because with such a character-driven piece, she's very weak.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know. Yeah, it's I sound like I'm being harsh on it. I did really like it, but I would say all of the interesting parts kind of happen. All the plot threads kind of open up in the beginning aren't really followed through on once you realize, like, halfway through, like, okay, this movie's going to be about this now.
Let's face it, we've done enough movies. We can say at this point, a movie can be enjoyable, but also mundane.
Yes.
A little bit, yeah.
I would say the Wally and Frank's relationship keeps it from being mundane because...
Yeah.
Right, it's never boring to watch. Like, it's too well acted and the characters are too endearing to be I
guess mundane was the wrong choice, but, like, it can be...
It's rote. Yeah. No, that's a really good way to describe it. This is a very paint-by-numbers, historic... coming out
and it never there's no gray, like, there's really no gray morality where it's like it's like there are people, the characters are either totally okay or written to be framed totally okay with homosexuality, totally okay, or they're totally against it, and it's like,
there's no time too because it comes in the last 20 minutes,
right? Yeah. And there's no really exploration of people who are meaning well but are actually problematic, and so far as all that goes, like, it's just do you accept sexuality or do you not?
Right.
Blah, that's it.
That's tough. That's tough to watch in a movie too, where it's I feel like with gay movies, and I mean that like in quotes, like gay movies, you have to either love them, hate them, there's no in between, versus like you can get more deep with it. Like I don't think I've ever seen a movie that deals with gay people that are just like they're just gay. Like it's not drummed up for normalized. Character,
right?
Yeah, it's like that.
Yeah, there was no like eye-opening moment of like, oh, I didn't even know that's what that was like or whatever. It's just like, okay, no, this is gonna go. All right, that's how it went.
From like a historian, not that I'm a historian, but from a history person's perspective, It's set in 1973. The costumes and the music are fantastic. You really feel like you're there, but it's almost kind of interesting that they skirt over, you know, being gay. They go into the Bible side because, you know, South Carolina religious family, like being gay is a sin.
Yep.
But they don't have larger ramifications. There's a 5-minute plot beat where they're more concerned about getting caught with having marijuana because that's illegal than discussing the ramifications of their sexuality being known to the public.
Yeah.
Right.
And, you know, I know this movie's not trying to have a socialist agenda, but it's that they made a point to set it in this time period. And I read that it's based on the director's own family experiences. Okay. But, you know, it's a very sanitized.
Yes, sanitized is a good way to put it. Yeah.
Which is fair.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. After all that, I don't know. I would sound pretty negative, but I think it's worth watching.
It's a
Rating.
good movie.
Rating.
You didn't have to pay to see.
I'll give it 3 Jack Daniels nibs out of 5.
Okay.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of Jack Daniels in this movie.
Yeah.
We're on a roll of 3s. Like
Yeah.
I gave it 3.5
Come to a halt
3s.
now.
Yeah.
And so that's exactly the transition, Jill. I appreciate that you caught that. You lost our trivia challenge, which we played Sporkle Party, which was great because we could play it from wherever.
Hashtag Sporkle Party.
Yeah, I'm gonna give them a shout out because they also liked our Instagram and like commented. That's
Yeah.
great. But yeah, so we played a Sporkle Party, and we all were close at the end, except for Mitchell who got that question.
Was that the Terminator question? That was another one.
No, it was the final question. I think it was the Orson Welles question.
Mm.
Yeah. It was it was
the first question.
who played two people played the same character in the same year. And-
Yes, that was the
No, you said it.
Yeah.
Yep.
What was
Alfred Hitchcock.
it? Yes, it was
Anthony Hopkins biopic.
and
Yeah, it was the other one besides Anthony Hopkins. It was Alfred Hitchcock was playing a pick.
yeah.
I think it was Toby Jones was the
Yeah.
other
Yeah,
one.
Toby
Yeah,
Jones,
yeah,
that's
yeah.
it. Yep. Yeah.
So
We
yeah,
close. So Jill, you lost.
I
And
did. I did. So, in honor of having to watch a very bad movie, I went to my first gut reaction which was a film a friend recommended called Killer Sofa. So I've known about it for a little bit of time.
Great start.
Those who are curious, it currently has a 3.5 out of 10 on IMDb.
Yep.
This is a New Zealand picture, so
It wasn't even on Rotten Tomatoes when we were talking about it.
it's not on Rotten Tomatoes. I tried and looked everywhere. I could not find any budget information. All I really knew about this film going into it is that Jed Brophy, who is a frequent collaborator with Peter Jackson, he appears in Lord of the Rings, and he is Nori, the starfish dwarf in The Hobbit, is in it. So I was excited to show up for Jed. So
You're here for Jed. You're here for Jed.
Here for Jed. All I knew is that it is about... Like, you know what? How about I just read you the one sentence from IMDb? A killer reclining chair becomes enchanted by a girl and starts committing crimes of passion. So I'm going to just admit something right off the bat.
your last word right. Passion.
I'm going to just admit something right off the bat here. It is not a sofa.
No.
It is a reclining
It's a recliner.
chair.
It's singular.
A lazy boy.
One person can fit
It's
on
like
that.
Tsunami, where it's a tornado of wasps.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, yeah, okay.
Yes.
All right.
So false
So
advertising.
we're already
on the-
starting off on a lie.
Yeah.
Next, let me just share with you an image of said killer sofa.
You're going to
Oh,
put it
buddy.
over the phone for,
I
for
will.
Mitchell
I
to see.
personally am comparing it to a grumpy photo, Bert the Muppet.
There you go.
Let me see.
You're not angled at it right. Oh, God.
Here.
It's bad.
My goodness.
You could just Google it yourself, I guess. I don't
Oh,
know.
no. Oh,
Yeah.
no.
Yeah.
That's
So
amazing.
they put a face on it. You
Yeah.
can tell that there is a face. So I'll run you through a really quick overview of the plot. It starts off with a dude committing a murder in a space. We don't know exactly where, and there's a reclining chair looming in the background. Jump the next day, said chair is being delivered to our main character, whose name I already forgot.
Oh, my
Oh,
gosh. Yeah.
man.
What, who?
Francesca, who has her whole life has had this weird effect on men where they effectively become obsessed with her, although she says dedicated. So she gets this chair.
Okay.
She, is very excited about it. The murder happened. Duffy as Detective Bob Gravy and his kick.
Detective Grapes.
Grape.
Yes.
Grape and Grape.
Yeah.
They're trying to figure out what happened to the guy who got murdered, who was Francesca's ex-boyfriend named Federico.
They couldn't even wait. They went with GRA and then whatever vegetable
Gravy.
So they're trying to figure out what happened to Federico, who's the guy being murdered at the beginning. Shenanigans is about. Third plot is there is a rather chubby former and his friend who are demon hunters. This is never set up. You're watching a dude on YouTube talking about a demon.
Yeah. So the rabbi's watching YouTube videos.
Former rabbi.
Former rabbi.
Yeah,
He's
not
not
practicing.
actively a former. He's not actively a rabbi.
Come on, Andre.
My
We
bad.
all got this.
So we've got murder, a new rocking chair, demons. The rest of the film is Fran getting really familiar.
Yeah, right.
She basically has sex with it somehow.
No,
Foreplay.
Yeah, yes.
She's chair foreplay. She pulls its lever a lot.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yep.
all right. I was just like, how does this work?
It's a
like,
reclining chair, so it reclines.
the worst part is my mind went to a guy doing a sofa, and I was just like, okay,
Not
at
a
least that
sofa.
can do it.
This is a recliner.
This is a recliner.
Sorry.
Well, she's just taking a nap. It's a
She's
little.
not taking it down. She's feeling it.
But that's a nap. It's a little sensual, you know.
Does it have a vibrate feature? Is that
Yeah, but
mean-
chair is sentient. They established that very, very quickly that it's sentient.
Okay.
It's watching her. And she's living with her boyfriend, and it starts committing murders. It kills her boyfriend. It kills her stalker. Because remember, this weird effect on men.
Oh my god!
Stalker
You
who-
can't
So,
blow
yeah.
over the stalker part, guy. Like
They're-
what?
So this chair is committing murders. Detective Grape and Gravy are trying to figure out what happened to the first victim. Her rabbi is trying to find a demon. There's a demon afoot.
There's a demon.
And
Yeah.
conveniently, his granddaughter Maxie is best friends with Francesca, who received the chair. Shockingly,
Oh.
it takes most of the film for these two to put things together there.
Well, I mean, their names are Grape and Gravy. So.
Yeah.
And I'll get to that. So, the victim of the killer chair is Francesca's boyfriend, who nobody believes
Rip.
after he gets, his legs get impaled
Right.
by
That's the worst
springs.
part. Is
No
Oh.
one believes him.
Yeah, like he gets his legs impaled while making a DiGiorno pizza, right? So he's making a DiGiorno pizza, not paying attention, listening to music, and he gets stabbed in his legs by the two spirals that
They're
come
like-
out from the
like
gum.
pins of
Yeah,
oven.
pin into an oven. And they're like, wow, that's so weird. Both your legs got impaled. Like, they find him in the bathtub.
Stupid guy.
And, well, I guess you gotta go to your mom's house and just recover there. So not only does the sofa not make the kill right away, but no one believes it.
The sofa comes to finish him off.
Right.
The sofa
Yes,
can
'cause
move
the sofa-
around.
Yeah.
So it kills...
Recliner. Yeah.
Recliner, sorry.
So the recliner kills him
Much
off.
more agile that way. Less cushions
Next,
to move around.
We just have to address
Fran-
recliner.
Yes,
Right?
yes.
Francesca's having this ex-boyfriend is missing and was a stalker. Federico, her current boy, died. She's being questioned by the police. Her stalker, who is in her band, a dancer of
Oh,
sorts.
that's why she has the effect on people. Okay.
Not an erotic
No.
dancer, just a dancer.
No, I get it. If you dance in a band, you are going to have an effect.
So she has a stalker, his cousin, who lets himself into her apartment, puts cameras in place, then gets into her bed and dry humps some pillows under the covers, and the sofa kind of scoots on in, murders him, because, people are creeping on Francesca, and that's only the sofa's job. I mean, recliner.
Yeah,
Recliner
fine.
job.
So all these murders are happening. You're starting to put it together, but it's not going well. And Gravy, his wife left him, so Grape's like, "Do you want to come back to my place?" And Gravy shuts that shit down. So poor Grape.
It's also upset with Francesca
yeah,
at this
because of
point.
her effect on
Because of her
men.
effect, right? Yeah.
So
Yeah.
what? So I'm sure you're all wondering, what is the climax of this? So the rabbi figures out there's likely a demon inside the need to keep it away from Francesca. In reality, in the past, so flashback time, there were two murders. One got killed, the other ran into the woods and committed suicide in front of somebody, Francesca's ancestor. And the woman who committed suicide, her spirit is now haunting Francesca's bloodline. Even though her great-grandmother went off a nut. So there's
How
a
the
bloodline.
progeny, whatever.
So the rabbi believes that they need to exorcise the demon inside the sofa, and that'll solve all the problems. Turns out, something like, but it ain't a demon. It's Federico. He is inside the recliner.
Right. So the opening scene, we thought,
He was getting, it was just his legs getting chopped
it was
inside.
a favor from a friend that chopped off his legs so he could
Yeah,
fit
gotta
inside
call-
the recliner.
I got to call up. He just told me to do it. I don't know. I did it.
Right.
No.
Yes.
No.
So it's just a dude inside the sofa, right?
Recliner.
Recliner, right.
So
There's a sofa, you didn't have to
the
cut.
Gravy come in, and the recliner is trying to Francesca. Great bust, then recliner. the queen falls down, and there's half of Frederico, and they're like, all right, well, we solved the mystery. We know Frederico. We know who's been killing the people. No, actually, there really was a demon inside the recliner. It was looking for a spirit to pass on into.
A body.
This is Frederico.
Well, no, it was dead.
Oh!
So it was a fake out. So the evil spirit in the recliner...
Yeah, that's right. They redact their plot twist. This is like 2 minutes after reveal the plot twist, by the way.
So the evil held the evil spirit of the man who was one of the 2 murderers, goes into Gravy. Francesca, by a ghost that only appeared twice. The spirit of the ghost goes to Francesca. Poor Grave goes to visit Francesca and sees through a window Gravy and Francesca gone. She probably knows too much. So the film ends on a cliffhanger of Gravy and Francesca leaving the house to often commit more murders. So they're still out there.
Yep.
Oh my god.
The movie was a tight 81 minutes, and there's a bit that I did not talk about.
It was thankfully short.
Very, very short.
Hey,
I'll give props to the because we're intimidating. The minute it started talking and showing that it had teeth was kind of strange, and you saw that dirt puppet face.
Yep.
I really wish I knew what the budget of this film was. Like, student film was.
We're gonna post on our Instagram a picture of the derpy face because we know
it's kind of
what
cute.
It is
Cute.
And on the drive here, I realized there was a couple of plot holes that I didn't think
Oh
of.
no!
Such as
There was plot holes.
Away.
How did Francesca get a recliner that was of a murder?
Right?
So yeah, so they pick up a bunch of random characters.
They come to deliver
They
it.
come to deliver it,
And it crushes someone's hands.
well, right, and it almost crushes one of their hands. Like, what's wrong with
Did
this
it
recliner?
fall or
No, so
it's under
okay.
So
Oh, and that's how it walks.
right.
Because it walks. So imagine the sofa. So like the recliner. So like the foot comes out, and then you just kind of.
Oh god.
Kind of walls. Yeah. No,
I'm glad you guys because the people at home are gonna get that.
Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah.
That is the sound of the recliner.
Yeah. No, that's yeah.
It is. If you enjoy shocky,
C horror.
C-rated horror, watch it. Pop popcorn, have beers, take a drink every time they say Grape and Gravy, Recliner, or Francesca. If you are going to be the Blumhouse film, you're in for a world of disappointment.
Okay.
But
By the way, shout out to our friends, Bad Movie Drinking Game. And when I said we would watch a bad movie, they made one for us for Avatar, which we still have not
I would
watched.
love to do that.
Like the ladder?
Yeah, I tried to make. I had like an ad hoc.
That's right. Yeah.
It's on Prime for free, so no money was spent to watch this film.
Thank God.
But yeah, go into it knowing it's bad. Go in prepared for some laughter as well as why is this happening?
Why?
Also, no offense to the actors who played the bad rabbi. Did you work on your show following because you suck at it?
Damn.
That was that little horn.
Yeah.
thing.
Oh yeah. No. You were pissed off about it. I remember.
So pathetic.
Took you out of the mood. We're so immersed it was.
I really was. I believe this.
I love how that's what you do.
Hey, I'm
How many shofars are 5 out of this?
Shofars. How many recliners?
Yes.
Not sofas out of 5.
Yeah.
I make the streak of 3s and give it a 2.5.
Wow, that is the highest.
Do you want to know why I'm giving it a decent?
Is it? What would have been higher?
So one of the ones I watched was Highly Fashionable or whatever.
That's
it was.
right. Yes.
And I thought it was really as bad as I thought it would
So
be.
Okay.
there's
But that's the only one that I have on like the radar of
Maybe
this
it's
is-
yeah.
2.5 for Killer Sofa, and some of that is Judd Beeson, and I just love him. However, the real reason this movie is not is because on Thursday I had the unfortunate mispleasure of watching 1995's The Net with Sandra Bullock. And
Next movie.
yeah, it's good for her for having a career after that.
So it seems like one is just like maybe it was trying to be good and it ended up bad.
Are we talking
Net.
Sofa?
No, talking
The
the
Net.
net. Because Killer Sofa, we just knew it was going to be
feel
good.
they
so
knew
we-
they
Any
were
movie
aware.
called Killer Sofa.
The one in tongue-in-cheek.
Yeah.
The Net days, I think that they had this plan of the internet is evil.
Yeah.
Let's make a movie about that. It was
Okay.
written by men, for men, and how hackers are. Maybe the tagline should be Gaslight, the movie.
Yeah.
That's a good title.
Okay, so, well, that brings us to our next thing. So normally it's part of the portion of the show. We talk about or dreading. We're talking about something that's news-related.
News!
So just this week, Warner Brothers announced that all of their 2021 films are going to be released in theaters as well as on HBO Max simultaneously. We're gonna get our thoughts on this. We're gonna get our feelings on this. We're talking out on this because it's an interesting thing that this pandemic created this new line of thinking that this is now happening. I don't know who wants to go first. Who's feeling the strongest opinion? I can go first if.
Yeah, do that.
I
Go
also
for
just
it.
talked for a good 10
Yeah.
minutes. So
Okay.
I'm taking
Yeah.
a deep bit.
Well, I will say that what's interesting about it is how they are trying to also stay in love with theaters, because the idea is going to streams for like 30 days and then it goes back to theaters only. Yeah.
Okay, huh. I didn't realize that it was like a timed thing.
So it's going to be a time thing where it's,
window.
and I don't know if it's 30 days. Maybe I'm wrong on that.
Mm.
But it's going to be a time thing where it's available on stream, and then it's going to be off streaming but in theaters, and then it's back to streaming.
Got it.
And like the streaming is going to be following more like the model we used to. It's like,
Yep.
okay, it's been in theaters for a while. Give it time. Give it time. Give it time. Now it's streaming.
Right. Okay.
I find it interesting because, and I know some people disagree with me, but I've seen the end. I do.
I think we're seeing the end of multiplexes.
Yeah.
Yes, I would agree
I
with
don't
that.
think. I think Alamo survived. I think ArcLight. They gotta make it boutique. They gotta make it special.
Bring on the
but
indie art theaters.
Yeah, and if you're AMC, you have the ability to pivot, but how fast you can do it, that's another question for you.
Right.
So
You know,
my thing is
because-
though, are you willing to spend $20 a night at the movies versus $13 a month for HBO Max?
Well, yeah, no,
Depends.
Mike. So the difference here is they have to eventize this stuff. It has to be a special outing. Like those are the years that are going to survive. Casually going to AMC because you're an A-list member, like that's done. That is done.
The Sunday
And
matinee.
Yeah. Okay.
The sun, yeah, unless it's a night out, and they really go out of their way to make it something where it's an experience and really emphasizing the customer service and just having a blast for 2 hours. The normal movie theater multiplexes, they can't hang. They were built to do that. So this is, I think you're onto something when it says it could be the theaters.
Yeah. I don't know. I guess I'll just echo Mitchell's thoughts on that. Yeah, I agree. It would be. I still do my theater whenever it's safe, rather, in 2021 or 2022 or whatever. But yeah, it'll be probably less frequent because, we'll have that streaming option.
I'm gonna say, Chris Stuckman, who does movie reviews, made a really good point saying that the future of film going one of two ways. It's good for the people who, when they go to a movie, they treat it as if they're watching a movie at home. The people who are always on their phone or not really paying attention, they don't have to go to theaters anymore. They can be at home.
Okay.
For people who love going to movies, yes, the megaplexes, I agree with you on that. I think that can happen. But for those that hold on, who love movies, it's still gonna be there, and now you don't have to worry about friends sitting next to you.
Oh, that's
on
true.
Candy Crush.
Oh, I
Yeah.
don't have to worry about the guy at Murder in the Orient that sat right in the movie theater. That guy was the
That, but I agree for films that it's gonna be fans where come out for a show, but there are always gonna be movies where no matter how free it is, was
Yeah.
Imagine Mad never being on a big screen.
Well, so that's the next thing I'll bring up. Is it Denis Villeneuve?
Denis Villeneuve.
Who's
Yeah.
doing Dune.
Dune. Yeah.
Yep.
They've now complained about the fact that they did not sign up for this. This is not what they wanted, and they got by Christopher Nolan.
Right,
Who, of
well,
course, we knew Christopher Nolan's
Yeah.
in theater.
He tried to
Who
do Tenet. and-
Yeah.
was involved in this deal with? Because it's a production house to consult with anybody to make this decision. Own these films.
Well, so that's the story that I'm saying is Dune expected to be released on a big screen. It is a movie made for the big screen.
Yeah.
And they're now complaining about it. Now, the article I read says it's be a big issue because basically Warner Brothers is just going to pay this production company who owns it and let out it. And then it's not going to be an issue because then Dune gets their money, Warner gets their money. It's not a big. But
Yeah.
what happens to these?
Yeah. Go ahead, Mike.
What happens to these movies that are like big screen? Like I know you boutique theaters and everything like that, and I'm 100% on board with Connecticut. no boutique theaters except for Art Cinema and Cinépolis, who, let's face it, Cinépolis is probably going to die too.
I was really hoping when Cinépolis closed for Richard was going to fully become an indie theater.
Exactly. Like, we have ways, and then we have something in New Haven, probably.
We have something in New Haven.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's the college town thing.
Well, what are we going to do since we do not have boutique theaters?
I mean, it's impossible to predict 100%, but I could, alluded to it, could be that AMC somehow pivots and becomes more premier experience. It's unlikely, I guess.
Well,
but
what they also could do is start putting money back into indie films, doing screenings of things on 70mm. I've seen. I mean, this was in Cambridge and outside of Boston, but I got to see it on the film that it was originally made on, and it was amazing. So people are always going to show up to see films like that, or during going to go see Elf or Miracle on 34th Street. So I think it has to be a compromise that's being screened. It's maybe we're not going to have everything, but we're screening the big blockbusters. We're filling in with the Criterion Collection, or we're having these. We're going to be reaching colleges and having film students screen their stuff. It's really the only way. I hope they're done because it's part of it, but I also want theaters to go the way of Broadway where it's cost prohibitive.
And please, I love the theater experience. I do say I want the theaters dead. I'm just playing devil's advocate.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, you wouldn't have a podcast if you didn't like theaters.
And that's exactly it. I love the theater experience. That's why we had such a big discussion. Theater I hated, because the rest of the theaters have done such a good job to make us feel a part of it.
Sure.
And one of the experiences, even though I didn't like the movie, was after the bachelor party, Jason Brett and I went to Alamo Draft House in Kansas City, Hobbs and Shaw.
Nice.
And Hobbs and Shaw sucked. But beat up last. It was like car chase scenes. It was hey, here's who Hobbs and Shaw is in the 50s.
That's nice.
It was built for that.
Sure.
Where it's such individualized for the movie that it was that was a blast of an experience. Before then I saw the
Sure.
The one thing I don't want discussion, so just to go back to your point about Dune, the reason production companies complain, there's definitely a part of the exhibit. They're also in this deal with Warner's that they points if a movie goes 200 million, 300 million. Right. When they say we go and do not what they signed for, they have this huge cap, put in this kind of budget in the hope that it's going to $1 billion. The producers, so many back-end points and actors signed up for this. And it's a big deal, at least for the initial movies that have been made and are ready to be released in a way. The giant studios need to figure out, okay, how do we work this economically? Because, going forward, we could say in writing, this is going to go straight to HBO Max, and they're going to pen the deals appropriately. We have something like Patty Jenkins making Wonder Woman, a sequel where she was probably slated to make a lot more money than she did the first time around.
Right.
This is really changing the game. Contracts are going to be, because there's no such thing as points. It's almost impossible to predict, subscribers this month because of Wonder Woman. Or because of Dune.
Yeah. And that's exactly it too. It's tough because not only can you not put the subscriber based on that, but it also is you can say we had this many subscribers, but that doesn't include the people. Let's look at what it is.
Yep.
Jumped on their buddy's account or whatever.
What Mitchell just made me realize that's why Disney chose to do what they did with Mulan, which was kind of after Tenet failed to revive the theaters. I think Disney Plus was one of the first reading okay, we need to show this film. We can release it internationally, but we can't do it in the theater. I wonder if that's why they put this tag on it, was to, as Leo was saying, get the people in the back rooms to the points, to actually recoup some of the cost and maybe crack $1 billion. And I mean, I don't know if it had been a different film, because I know Mulan, I know it had maybe some success, but Disney, they don't release their numbers.
Right.
And it didn't work.
Yeah, that's what it is. If it was a success, we would have known about it.
Yeah.
We would have known about it, and we would be paying for Soul. Right?
Yes,
exactly.
we would not be getting Soul for free.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly right on that. By the way, I just also want to say that the people that were trending Mulan on Twitter when Warner Bros. Announced this deal, so Warner Bros. Announced Mulan started trending because they were you didn't have to pay for this, blah, 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 whatever.
Anyway.
the funny thing is that when Mulan was released for the price tag, they said in the beginning, streaming eventually for free.
Yep.
And all are complaining, $30 for it. I paid
Well, I'm
$30.
sorry you got duped.
You're a dumbass.
You're not gonna read the fine print because I not that I was ever going to show up to see Mulan because I have a very strict aversion to all the live action Disney remakes. But
Fair.
it was. I'm not going to give that thing my. We're
Yeah.
paying Disney Plus, and besides, when a Disney Plus wants to charge additional money for their theatrical released films, don't make it $30 and not give anything else with it. If it's going to be $30, I want Peter Jackson behind the scenes 3-hour-long featurettes. I want to know how this movie was made. I want the deleted scenes. I want the blooper. I want the commentary. I want all of that for $30.
Fair.
Here's your movie.
Yeah. I hate to cut this conversation short because I enjoy this conversation, everything like that. But we are past an hour.
Oh,
Which is not the end of the world. If we want to keep talking, I'm okay with it. Like,
well,
We can always have like the B-side.
the B-side.
B-side. I can remember. I haven't thought about this, but if you guys want to buy a special edition to our podcast,
Oh my
Here comes
gosh.
the Patreon.
The Patreon.
The Patreon.
It's
There we go.
and please, this is right now just thinking of
Uh-huh.
it because I think we could go on for this
I
conversation.
love brainstorming our podcast live on air. It's great.
This is literally live on air. We're brainstorming. This is what you get when you subscribe to our podcast.
For $1, you can throw out your hot takes and we'll react.
Yeah, exactly. No, I mean, seriously though, we're brainstorming because we're a local podcast that's meant for the local people, not local people, but for the friends. We're not made for a big crowd right now. Right now, we may get to the point,
Maybe one day.
but right now it's just our friends, family listening. If you like what you're hearing and you would pay money for it, let us know. But really, reach out to us. That's really what I'm getting to. Reach out to us on Instagram, on Facebook. We have an email, gameformoviepodcast@gmail.com. Send us your comments. What?
I think it's time for Twitter.
Twitter?
Oh boy.
Okay, we'll add it.
Oh man. Now we got a tweet now. We gotta
Okay,
get a
we
tweet
got
guy.
tweet. Hey, I'll give you a password if we want to tweet whatever
Oh
we're thinking.
boy. Just try hot takes.
In our conversation, I don't think we've done enough of this. If you guys have something that wants to go on the Instagram, Facebook, whatever, let me know.
Yeah.
The only reason is because up to this point, I've made it my personal password.
Fair.
Right.
So I want to include anything you guys think of, that kind of stuff. We're just spitballing here on the old podcast.
Yeah. Feel free to ask us questions. If we ever get mail, we'll read mail.
Wow.
Yeah,
Like Blue's Clues.
we
With a song and dance.
Yeah.
we just
Like
gotta
Blue's Clues.
we just gotta let it.
Yeah.
We
you
just
got
gotta
a
let
letter.
it. Wonder who it's from.
Were you guys a Steve or a Joe?
Steve, what the
Steve.
hell?
Joe
Yeah.
was cuter. Joe
Uh,
had the hair.
There was a Christmas special that Steve
Wow.
made an appearance.
Didn't
Yeah.
Steve go off to be a DJ? Was that like the in real life?
He
I think
went
the
to
actor
college.
he went
He
to
went to
college.
college.
Steve was going bald,
Yes.
Aw.
and
Yeah.
so
Why'd
he
you have
did-
to take a dig at his hair, man? That's not cool.
and then-
Why did you say Joe had better hair? He
Yeah.
Well,
wow.
yeah, that's 'cause
Sore
Steve
spot.
was balding.
He was balding. Yeah, exactly. And in the Christmas special, he has a hat on because he's a detective because he was sensitive about his hair.
You know what? For all the kids out there who are young enough to watch Blue's Clues or their parents, the new Blue's Clues has a really good-looking guy now. I don't know his name.
yeah, but it also
he's
has a
swole.
CGI blue,
What?
like
Oh,
super CGI.
that ain't
blue.
right.
I'm too busy looking at the thirst traps, not Steve.
That's
Oh my
fair.
gosh.
Have
Okay.
you seen his photo?
No, I don't.
Wait.
Yeah, okay.
Wait, who are we talking about?
New guy on Blue's Clues.
Yeah, we're talking Joshua De La Cruz.
Joshua.
De La-
De La Cruz. Okay.
Yeah, and he is very good looking.
He's yummy.
If I were to say so myself.
Again,
Oh my
you got
God.
on my phone, so I can't look it up. But
And my boy is Filipino. And I just gotta say,
Oh,
this is just
yeah.
a beautiful thing.
Look
This is
at him.
beautiful
Oh, look
thing.
at that guy! Yeah, he's cute.
oh wow. All right.
Shouts
all
to my
agree.
Filipinos.
Can
He's
I
yummy.
just say it in the
Wow, what
best
the
way
fuck?
possible?
He's like weirdly buff. What the hell?
Is you? I think you just
This
laughed
is
about your
this
mic.
is devolved amazingly.
Wow.
You can lift up the furniture and put him clues.
Like this
Yeah,
is
oh my
devolved
God.
amazingly. It.
Give him the beer.
Oh my god.
All right.
Which
anyways.
one of us had a 10% beer here?
You.
Yeah, and I'm on my 8%. Let's
Yeah,
go.
fair enough.
For all of those who are curious what we're doing after this, we're going to play a spicy game of Yahtzee to determine the next loser.
Oh, it's gonna be great.
It's very,
I'm
very
really
content.
excited because I've drank way too much, so Yahtzee's right what I asked for.
All right, excellent.
It's my second time playing Yahtzee, everybody. I'm very
I'm
excited.
gonna lose. I'm gonna put it out right now on the podcast. I'm gonna lose, and I'm gonna have to watch a bad movie, and it's gonna be great.
And
It's gonna be
should-
awesome.
I should pick the movie because it will be a Barbie animated film.
Oh,
Oh no.
Oh, yes.
wow, it's
There's,
unorthodox, but okay.
I love bad movies.
I know, but okay.
A Barbie movie?
Yeah.
Okay.
It won't be like one of the really bad ones. It'll be like one of the middle tier.
Mitchell, I hope you lose.
Well, you know, Robbie is, or someone famous, it's someone, like, legitimate talent, is supposed to be in a Barbie movie, like a live-action Barbie movie.
Oh God.
Yeah. Well, like a live action is fine. We're talking about the animated ones.
Yeah, the mid
No, I know, but this could
2004
be...
to like 14 Abominations.
Oh, God. All right.
I hope you lose.
The thing is, I'm not even there.
Yeah, we're gonna roll for you, and we're gonna show you the dice.
We'll get like a bucket. We'll put a hat on. We'll draw a face. We'll give it a name tag that says Mitchell.
You're the whole time. You're gonna know we didn't cheat you. It's gonna be
That's
fun.
fine.
Yeah. All right. Well, we're gonna close out this podcast because the last like 5 minutes we've been.
We've gone off the
This
rails.
went off the rails.
Yeah, we went off the rails. I hope you enjoyed it. Please comment, like, share, subscribe, whatever you got to do on Instagram, Facebook. We're gonna be on Twitter apparently, and YouTube. Maybe?
You know what? The algorithm will not get us.
That's a lot of platforms.
That's a lot of platforms. We're on Spotify. We're on Castbox. We're on Luminary. We're all over
I don't
the
even know what
place.
Castbox is.
Castbox is where we've gotten the most comments. That's when you can actually like comment on a
On the
show.
timeline, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
And I actually like that the best because I like hearing from you guys.
Yeah.
So please send
Yeah.
us thoughts, comments, concerns.
Yeah. But yeah. So for myself, Mike Butank,
Andre.
Jill.
Mitchell.
thank you guys very much for listening to Game for a Movie, where we ask, are you game for a movie?